They say, well, that's just my attachment style. Actually, no. Because somewhere along the way, attachment style stopped being a helpful tool for self-awareness and started becoming a free pass for toxic behavior. You're not avoidant, you're just unavailable. You're not anxious, you're just addicted to people who treat you like shit. You're not disorganized, you're just exhausted from dating people who trigger every childhood wound like it's a hobby. Let's talk about it. So where does this all start? Usually somewhere in childhood, before you knew how to spell attachment, let alone recognize that you were forming one with someone who barely made eye contact. John Bowlby, the father of attachment theory, studied the way babies react to caregivers being present, leaving, or coming back. And what he found was simple but brutal. How people first treat you when you're vulnerable shapes how you expect to be treated for the rest of your life. If your caregiver was present, consistent, and emotionally attuned, your nervous system relaxed. You built trust. You felt safe. If they were hot and cold, unpredictable, or checked out, your nervous system adapted. You became hyper-aware, or numb, or both. You started scanning for danger. You learned that love isn't safe, it's something you earn. And no one hands you a printout of this when you turn 18. You just start dating people, and confusing chaos for chemistry, distance for mystery, and emotional starvation for, they're just busy. You don't even realize you're reenacting anything because it feels normal. But normal isn't the same as healthy, and familiar isn't the same as safe. This is where your attachment style begins. Not because you're broken, but because you learned to survive in a relationship before you ever learned how to be loved in one. Let's break it down. There are 4 main attachment styles, and spoiler alert, only one of them isn't exhausting. Number 1, secure attachment. This is the one we're all supposedly striving for. People with secure attachment trust easily, communicate clearly, and don't make intimacy feel like a hostage negotiation. They can give love, receive love, and still have their own life. It's like dating someone who's emotionally literate and not on fire. Revolutionary. If you're secure, congratulations. You're the emotional equivalent of a 4-leaf clover. Rare, grounded, and nobody believes you're real.
I like you.
I like you too.
Okay, so we're just saying it? No chase, no word games?
No, just mutual interest and peace of mind.
Wow, gross.
Sometimes secure love feels boring until you realize it's just not confusing. Number 2, anxious attachment. This one's all about hypervigilance. If you're anxious, love feels amazing until it doesn't text back. You start scanning for tone, overanalyzing responses, and filling in the silence with the worst possible version of events. Because somewhere deep down, you've learned that love leaves. So now you're always trying to prove you're worth staying for. You're not needy, you're afraid. You're not clingy, you're convinced abandonment is coming and trying to get ahead of it.
Good night.
Are you mad?
What?
You said good night, like short. It felt short.
It's literally a word.
Okay, I'm spiraling, but like politely. It's not drama. It's your brain rehearsing abandonment before anything's even happened. Number 3, avoidant attachment. Now let's talk about avoidants, aka the emotional magicians. They disappear right when you start getting close. If you're avoidant, closeness feels suffocating, not because the other person's doing too much, but because you never learned how to sit with your emotions without wanting to escape. You might tell yourself you're just independent or low maintenance, but the truth is, any relationship that asks for real presence starts to feel like a threat. Avoidants don't hate love, they just fear what love requires.
Hey, I really like you.
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
It's been 6 months.
Yeah, I just need some space, like 12 to 15 business days.
To do what?
Emotionally quarantine. Number 4, disorganized attachment. And then there's disorganized, a chaotic mix of anxious and avoidant. Like your nervous system can't decide whether to chase or shut down, so it does both, at once, on loop. You want love, but you don't trust it. You crave safety, but push it away. You attach fast, then start planning your exit. It's not indecision, it's survival, because your early experience with love taught you, this is where you get hurt.
I love you.
Don't say that unless you mean it.
I do mean it.
Okay, well now I feel unsafe. Why would you say that?
Do you want to hang out tomorrow?
When chaos is your baseline, even honesty feels like a threat. There's a moment where learning about attachment styles goes from helpful to harmful. And it's when you stop seeing it as a lens and start using it as a label. You're not the anxious one. You're not the avoidant one. You're not the broken one who can't do relationships because your nervous system's in shambles. But I get it. There's comfort in having a name for what you're feeling. For once you don't feel crazy, you feel categorized. But what starts as clarity can quickly become a trap. Because once you start building your entire identity around your attachment style, you stop growing. You start accepting things that hurt just because they match your label. You start dating people who trigger your wounds because that's just your pattern. You stay in relationships that leave you depleted because this is what anxious people do. You avoid closeness because, well, I'm avoidant. That's just how I am. No, that's not just how you are. That's how you've adapted. And adaptation isn't identity. Your attachment style is a survival strategy. It's not your personality. It's not a life sentence. And it's definitely not a valid reason to keep reenacting your worst fears with people who don't even deserve access to you. Let's talk about them for a second. The person you keep falling for. The one who's hot and cold, emotionally distant, then deeply vulnerable, then gone again. You think you're in love, but what you're really in is a feedback loop. Because insecure attachment doesn't just shape how you love, it shapes what you think love is supposed to feel like. If you're anxious, you might feel most drawn to someone avoidant, not because it's healthy, but because it's familiar. You feel the push, pull, the tension, the I need you, I can't reach you dynamic, and your nervous system lights up like, this feels like home. It's not love, it's a cycle, one you've been rehearsing since you were too young to know it was even a pattern. And disorganized, that's a whole other dance. You're drawn to chaos, but you also crave stability. So you fall for people who give you both. A little safety, a little pain, just enough tenderness to hook you, and just enough distance to keep you starving. He said he wants to work on himself. And what's he actually doing? Thinking about it? Oh, so emotional Pilates, got it. This is how attachment styles keep you stuck. If you're anxious, you'll confuse their distance with depth. Like the harder they are to reach, the more valuable they must be. If you're disorganized, you'll feel safest in the chaos you know and start calling it connection just because it's intense. And if you're avoidant, you might convince yourself that their inconsistency is giving you space, when really it's just emotional neglect dressed up as freedom. You're not just reacting to them, you're reacting to every version of closeness you were taught to survive. And until you see that clearly, you'll keep calling it love. Here's the part most attachment style videos don't talk about. You're not stuck. You are not your patterns. You are not doomed to chase or avoid or spiral or shut down. You're just trained. Trained by your past, trained by survival, trained by a version of love that made you work for it. But training isn't destiny, and attachment styles aren't fixed. Secure attachment isn't a personality, it's a practice. It's not something you're born with, it's something you build in tiny, uncomfortable, quiet moments where you do the opposite of what your nervous system wants. It's the anxious person choosing to pause before texting 17 times in a row. It's the avoidant person leaning into a vulnerable conversation instead of finding an excuse to disappear. It's the disorganized person noticing when their fear is louder than their reality and staying anyway. You don't have to become perfect. You just have to stop abandoning yourself in the name of connection. Because healing isn't about fixing your attachment style. It's about rewriting the story that told you love only works when it hurts. Here's the truth. Yes, you have an attachment style. No, it's not your fault. But it is your responsibility. Because if your healing depends on other people never triggering you, that's not healing. That's avoidance. So stop hiding behind labels. Stop diagnosing your relationships from a comment section. And please, for your own sanity, stop dating men who think emotional availability means texting you back before midnight. Subscribe, because I may not be securely attached yet, but at least I show up every week. Subscriptions are my love language. I'll see you in the next one.